When I was very young, 6 or 7, I had an imaginary friend. His name was Scratch, and he was a cat with a missing eye and a calico coat. I was an anxious child, my mother said, and that helped me cope with growing up. She said she'd had a cat like that once, that she had been an anxious child too. I didn't care. It meant I had someone to chatter to. Scratch told me his name, but I never remember him saying anything else. He would just stay padding alongside me as I told him anything my imagination could conjure up. It was a tough childhood, but my mother did what she could. She scraped by as a secretary and ate ramen, while I had a few pieces of green on my plate. She always used to wear this cheap dollar store necklace, and as I grew older, I realized how unappealing it looked. But she wore it so determinedly. She was the kind of woman to make the best out of a bad situation. Scratch came and went in my life, and I missed him. But I tried to make friends as best I could. I had a few friends at school, and although I wasn't one of the popular ones, people didn't pick on me. I was just there. When I was 12, I saw Scratch again. I told my mother carefully, and she laughed, her smile tight and forced. "You were always an anxious child," she said, and that was the end of it. When I was 15, he showed up again. He looked different, crouched in the tree outside my window. His arms and legs had elongated, and the whole of his eye was hollowed and bloody. I took my mother over dinner, my childish voice wavering as I tried to sound unaffected. She pursed her lips. Her hands were gripping the chair she was sitting on so hard it looked painful. I didn't know what to say and knew that she didn't either. 18 was the 3rd time Scratch came back. I was walking back from a party along a street alone. I know it was a stupid thing to do, but we lived in a safe town, and I had never had any trouble before. The street lamps flickered as I pulled my coat around me. Then there he was. He was even bigger now. The blood was pouring down his sides. Deep fangs pushed out of his gums, and he looked at me with his one eye. "Can you talk?" I whispered. I felt like I was losing my mind. There was nothing but air rustling through the tree branches and the electric crackle of the street lamps above. I turned. This couldn't be real. Then a soft voice came from behind me. It buzzed in the base of my skull. "We have to play hide and seek." I kept my back to Scratch, my eyes tightly closed. I couldn't bear to see it speak. "I don't want to play," I hissed between my gritted teeth. "I'm afraid," Scratch paused, "that you don't have a choice. There is something hidden that I want you to find. Find it in a year." The wind curled its fingers around my neck, and Scratch's last words drifted across the empty street. "Or you will be sorry that you didn't." I turned suddenly, and there was nothing but tarmac and silence. I was still, frozen by fear until the sharp buzz of my phone pierced the night. "Hello?" I answered, my voice shaking. I ached to hear another human voice. "Is this Poppy Greenfield speaking?" I gripped the phone with both hands. "Speaking?" "I'm afraid you need to come down to Churchill Hospital immediately. Your mother has had an accident, and her condition is critical." I felt my blood thunder in my ears. It was a heart attack, uncommon in women her age, the doctors told me as I stood there listlessly. I watched her die, but not before she wordlessly pressed her old dollar store necklace into my hand. It was blackened and dented from age. but I pressed it into my palm like it was her hand squeezing mine. I didn't forget about what Scratch had told me, but without my mother, I didn't care about the consequences. What was anything worth without her beside me? The year went by in a blur, and I don't remember much of it. A few snapshots of me waking up in a strange bed with a splitting headache are all I have. I guess it's strange the kind of person grief can turn you into. Then I met Charlie, and everything changed. I'd never met anyone who loved me so patiently and tirelessly. Within 6 months, I moved in. Within a year, I couldn't imagine a life without him. Sometimes I would see Scratch and feel like I couldn't breathe or have a nasty fall the day after, but I accepted it as a strange coincidence of the world. Maybe I was crazy, I told myself when the night after I dreamed of him, I'd broken my foot. Maybe it didn't matter as long as I could ignore it. One night, this changed. I woke up in a cold sweat, my cotton shirt stuck to me. The wind had blown the door open, and I could see into the living room and out onto the garden. The double doors were open, swinging against their hinges, and I saw him. Scratch was huge. His long muzzle had cracked as it had grown and split the soft calico fur. His long teeth were stained red. In bed next to me, Charlie started to convulse. His eyes shot open, milky white, and he gasped out for air. I felt a wave of nausea hit me, and I staggered to my feet towards the cat. "Please, no!" I screamed helplessly, the sickness making me dizzy and weak. "You didn't listen." Scratch spoke in his dark voice. "You didn't even try." "What do you want?" I cried, the sobs racking my chest. Charlie's breathing was shallow in the bedroom. His eyes had rolled back into his head. I clutched his cold hand as I stared at the cat. Its one eye, bloodied and mangled, stared back at me. "You have to find it now." It spoke in a deep rasp, its haunches heaving up and down with exertion. "It will not let me tell you where it is." "I don't know how to play your stupid game," I screamed back at it. I stumbled towards it in anger and terror. "I don't know what the heck you want me to find." Scratch seemed somehow smaller now. His claws were broken and bent. The way he stood left his weight off a leg that I now saw was as mangled as the rest of him. I squinted, trying to make out what the shimmer was behind him, until I suddenly recoiled. Deep in the blackness of the trees were claws. Deep, stretching spindly black fingers reaching towards us. Scratch looked on, unblinking. "I gave it to your mother once." The cat's one green eye glowed in the dark for a moment. "Please." He had barely uttered the word before the claws reached him, the darkness enveloping him like ink. I staggered to my feet, and a low moan came from across the landing. "Charlie." The darkness shifted in one sinewy motion, and I ran, my bare feet slipping against the floor. I made it into the bedroom and locked the door behind me, the darkness slamming against the wood. He had given it to my mother. She had given it to me. I ran to the dresser, my heart hammering in my chest, and threw it open. In the bottom drawer, the necklace lay, and my hand scrabbled over it, fumbling with the strap. The door flew open and my breath left my body. I had the necklace. Why was nothing happening? The creature standing in front of me was so huge and monstrous. I don't think I could find the words to describe it even now. It was like looking into a black hole. I could feel the suffering of all the souls it had eaten before. I gripped the necklace tight in my hand, and my fingers slid over a small groove in the back of it. It had a secret panel. I cracked the necklace open, almost crying from fear. Inside was a phrase written in a strange language, and I can't remember it. All I remember is screaming it, and then nothing but floating through a void, seeing nothing and feeling nothing but quiet. I woke up in a hospital bed next to Charlie. The kind doctors told me there had been a gas leak and that we were both lucky to be alive. They said it could cause hallucinations and strange dreams, and a part of me fought that. The words to tell them, however, just wouldn't come out of me. I guess it just wasn't right. Then the years went by and the memories grew dimmer as my happiness grew. Charlie and I got married and moved away from the city. It felt like my life had finally pieced itself together, and it was a happy occasion when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter Julia. I had almost forgotten, you see, except today. When I woke up, there was a cheap dollar store necklace on my front porch. When I woke up my daughter for her breakfast, she stretched and smiled and told me with bright optimism that she'd had a visitor in the night, an old beat-up cat called Scratch, who told her his name and listened while she chattered. "You're an anxious child." I felt my mouth form the words that weren't mine. Something isn't letting me tell her. I always keep the dollar store necklace around my neck. It's all I can do. When Julia is around, I tell her it's my favorite necklace in the world and how it will be hers someday. I've tried to write her letters, but my hand won't form the words. I know that you will never see this, but there are two things I'm certain of. The first is that as long as I'm breathing, I will always leave a bowl of milk outside for Scratch, no matter how the other mothers say I indulge you. And the second, and most important, is that I love you, Julia. When the time comes, I hope you find what you need. The horror isn't over yet. Choose your next nightmare for more chills.